Well, welcome to the wonderful world of DotLoop. Let's do a little introductory training on this system so that you can see what we're looking at here. Okay, so the first thing you need to do, obviously, is log in. So it's dotloop.com. It's the email that you normally use for your real estate business, and it's a password that you yourself have set up. Okay, so I'm going to go to my agent profile. This is what you will see. Many of you will have nothing here. Some of you will have a couple of loops. Even though you think you've never used it before, you have actually probably signed something that someone else sent you. Therefore, you're a part of this loop and it is in your system. If you don't want to look at the very old loops that you have in there, if they're from a year or 2 or 3 and you just don't need them, what you'll want to do is in the filter section, first of all, make sure that you have a little button checked called Hide Archived. There is no deleting in DotLoop. You can, however, archive something so that you don't have to look at it and you can call it up when you want. So now that that filter is on, just click the Archive button. That is now archived. It doesn't look like it's archived, does it? Well, go to any other tab. I've just clicked on a Tasks tab, and now I'm going to go back to my loops. And now it's gone. So that's how you can get rid of unwanted boxes on your loop page. Okay, that being said, let's talk a little bit about these tabs at the top. Loops, they're basically envelopes. In DocuSign terminology, right? So it's what we want, where we're going to keep our paperwork, pretty much anything we're going to get signed by our clients. The reason that DotLoop calls it a loop is that actually this is more than just digital signature platform. This is transaction management software. We are not using it as transaction management software because we have paperless pipeline. Therefore, we're only using it for the digital signature portion. Many of the things that you'll see in DotLoop you can ignore. Okay, many of their tasks and various things like that are not as relevant to what we're doing. But this is a big tab for you, the Loops tab, and the other big tab is the Templates tab. Now, that being said, sure, there are a few templates. There are 2 that I've made so far. However, this is a word that doesn't exactly tell you what it is, because this tab is where you're going to find all the documents that I have submitted to DotLoop to be made fillable. So hopefully this will make your lives easier. When you go to the documents section on the left, United Real Estate Columbia, this is where you're going to see our documents. So here we go, and you can see all of these different documents that are available, and they are all fillable. So all you have to do is put your cursor in there, type, and tab. Okay, so these are all the documents. And when you open one, it will give you the opportunity to put it within a loop. Okay, so let's go back to loops. A loop is basically a folder within DotLoop that you will be collecting paperwork that your client needs to sign. Okay, that's all you're doing, because you still, once it's signed, once the document is complete, you do need to download it and then upload it into paperless pipeline, because that is our transaction management system. So what we're going to do right now is add a loop. Now, it says property address or MLS number. All right, in paperless pipeline, we absolutely need a property address, because either you have a listing for a house that of course is going to be sold, or you have a buyer who already has a contract. Okay, we don't put individual buyers with no house attached to their name into paperless pipeline. We only do that when they have a ratified contract, right? Well, here we need to get the paperwork signed. Therefore, we can have a folder that is for a client, and you can have that name as the name of the folder. And then later on, once they get a ratified contract, you can change the name of the folder if you want to that property address, but just know that that's where you're going to keep all the paperwork related to that particular buyer. So let's create something, and I'm going to create a buyer loop for now. So I've typed in a buyer name, and I'm going to do buyer docs. Yeah, we don't have to put a picture of our client in. That's probably for houses as you move down the path, but you don't need to do that either. So we're all good. Let's view the loop. Okay, what do we have here? Let's see. We have a number of things that are going on. First of all, you can see a documents section. This is cool because that is the template that has the documents that you need for paperless, right? These are our buyer docs, the ones that we want initially shared. People. Okay, let's talk about who the people are. You got an admin for United Real Estate Columbia. Consider that to be me. Okay, that means I can see everything on all sides of the deal. So the admin for United Real Estate Lexington, well, that's because I myself am a Lexington agent according to LLR. So the admin for United Real Estate Lexington will be Joe, the broker in charge here. Okay, so what that means is that you do not need to add the broker in charge for Lexington or for Northeast. It's already here, okay, as admin. They're already part of that transaction. So if you're a Northeast agent, you're going to see admin for United Real Estate Northeast. Know that Preston is already able to see these docs, already is a part of this transaction, okay? So you do not need to add him specifically. Okay, I'm in here, but as you notice, I have no role. So I need to make myself the buyer agent. You have to do that, okay? And then let's go ahead and add someone. Here's my buyer. Okay, email, using one of my side emails, and let me point this out. You cannot have the same email used for two clients. Okay, it doesn't work. Occasionally you've got a couple, an older couple maybe, who likes to use the same email address. Well, you can't do that here. Okay, you're going to have one of them create a Gmail just for the transaction, or maybe you get the paper signed in person, but you can't send and get signed two people using one email address. Unfortunately, it does not work. John is the buyer. I'm going to go ahead and add a phone number. Okay, and then I'm tabbing through because scrolling through doesn't work. Oh, let's go ahead and add his home address. This is what this is. This is not the address of a property that he wants. This is the address he currently lives at. Because in the buyer paperwork, it does ask for that. So let's go ahead and get that in here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put the number again. Okay, and I'm still tabbing. Don't use this over here, okay, to scroll down because the box will disappear. I don't know why. So, all right. So as you can see, I've added John Smith, and he is the buyer. Everything else below here is not important. Okay. So now we go back to the documents, and let's open them up. And just like in MLS, click on the top box. They'll all get checked, and go ahead and open. So as you can see, we have another box. And this is an autofill box, okay? This makes it easier as you scroll through the document. Some of this information will already be in here if you take the time to fill it in right now. So we have John Smith as our buyer. As it turns out, we don't have a second buyer. So you need to put no one. Okay, so there's me, I'm the buyer agent, and United Real Estate Lexington is the admin. Perfect. Buyer agent, that's me, buyer one, and all of that is good. So, all right, 3 roles have been assigned: buyer agent, buyer, and admin, and 8 fields are auto-filled. So let's see how easy this makes things for us. Okay, this is our agency policy. Oh, I meant to take this out. I'm gonna take these two boxes out. You won't even have those as options. But notice what happens here. When I click on a box, if you look up top, it says assign to no one. That's the way you want it. That means that will not even appear when it's time for somebody to sign something. But that also means you need to assign a few boxes to people. So see, here's a box that we want John to sign. So I'm going to assign that to John. Okay, and you see how his initials pop in there to establish that he needs to initial that. Okay, the signatures are going to be the same way. Right now it's assigned to no one, so let's assign that to John. This one's fine, it's assigned to no one. And this, I think I need to go in and assign that to the buyer agent. Okay. Now we're scrolling. Let's see what else we have. Okay, here's a signature. Look, it's assigned to no one. Let's get John to sign it. The other one is assigned to no one and is fine. It will not appear. Okay, so now we've got this auto-filled. Look at that. John Smith and broker in charge of United Real Estate Columbia. So we're good there. We just have to fill in a few things. It's a residential purchase, general description. How about one story, approximate price range? How about 200,000? General location, we'll say Lexington, and that should do it. I mean, there's not a lot of information that absolutely must be there. So John is already established as the buyer here. We don't have a buyer too, but what I would like to do is assign that to no one, because otherwise he will still see the potential to initial here and he'll click on this one instead. So he'll only initial once. It doesn't allow him to initial in both places at the same time, but it's still a little confusing. So I want this to be no one, assigned to no one. And then you can see the admin. That will be your broker. They will be initialing there. Okay. So now for time purposes, I'm going to click that as how we want to get paid, because we have to indicate we're going to get paid somehow. Okay. So let's make today the first day of it, and we'll make, sure. Okay. So again, you can see that the elusive second buyer is scheduled for that. Let's put no one there. And now we need to get John to initial a couple of these lines, but in this case, it was a lot easier if I just allowed each agent to put the initials where needed, because some people really do not want to consider this, and so we don't want to just assume that everything's always going to be discussed. You know, it's ideal to have it discussed, but it doesn't mean that that's really what's going to happen. So just like in DocuSign, you can resize it and move it a little bit, and then you want to assign the field, of course, to John. And then initials. I know there is a way to copy that nifty little box there. I gotta find those instructions again. It's like a Control C, Shift Control, something like that. So, but in the meantime, I'm just doing this. So there you go. So now he's initialed there. Okay, again, our elusive buyer. Let's just make it no one. Okay. Don't forget to check one of these boxes, which generally we should have the ability to disclose the buyer's identity, but you never know. Okay, one more. Let's just, for the clarity for our client, let's make that a no one. Okay, John's gonna sign there, and look, email, phone number, that's all good. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this buyer. And then here is John's current address. Here's our company, and then broker will sign there. It's pretty good. One more, I'd just like to make a no one there. Okay, wonderful. Wire fraud. Okay. So what we have here, our box is assigned to no one, so therefore you can put your client in there. If you have 3 or 4 clients, go for, I mean, just drag a signature, put it where you need it. And the thing about DotLoop is that we are not doing anything with the date here. Okay, when somebody signs it, it automatically timestamps it. So there's no wiggle room on what the date is of the signature. Okay, let's go ahead and assign this because these fields, you know, the wire fraud, you know, this particular document can be used for your sellers too. So we don't want to assume it's a buyer or a seller at any given point. So these are all assigned to no one, therefore they're going to be empty until you do something with them. Okay. I could probably fix the buyer agency to reflect that as well, but it might just be as easy to drag a couple of initials. Okay. So inspection disclaimer. As you see, we have no property address. We're gonna go without a property address because ideally this is being done prior to any properties being seen. In the perfect world, you wouldn't have been showing your buyers anything yet. So you're likely not under contract for anything yet. So this is the conversation, though, that you want to have with your buyer in the initial consultation. You want them to understand fully what being a buyer looks like. That means that once you're under contract, there are some obligations you have. There are some potential inspections they can do. You can have all this time to look at things, but they're going to be paying for those inspections. They need to understand what's going to be happening, what the process is, so they're prepared. We don't want any surprises. Wow, you didn't tell me a home inspection was going to cost $300. I don't have $300. You know, all of that. You want them to be fully informed from the very beginning about the process. Okay, here's the other buyer that we will just assign to no one. There you are, or I am in this case, and we're done. Okay, so we're going to save and share these documents. We are going to be sharing them with the buyer so that he can sign. Notice that he can sign, okay? See this right here? There is a drop down where he can fill in sign. I do not suggest that you allow the buyer to fill anything out because you do this and that basically makes it possible for him to, on all of these documents, change anything, fill in anything. I don't think we want to allow the clients that much freedom in that. I think we need to have control over our documents. So that being said, I think the one time that this is a tremendous tool is for the property disclosure. You can send a seller under a separate email, just the property disclosure, that he'll have the ability to fill and sign in. And that's the way it should be, that they have all the power in that one. So in this case, we're going to have him sign. Okay. So there it is, and we're going to share. Okay, so now this is what, hold on. Okay, this is what you see. Please review 5 documents, and there we go. View all documents. Okay, this isn't the one. I think I was working with him before. Yeah, let's go back. There we go. This is the one I want. There. Okay. Perfect. So now we're going to start signing. As you notice, just like we said, when it's assigned to no one, it doesn't show up. So we only have that. We're going to establish the signature. There's only one font in DotLoop. So here we go. Okay. So initial. See how clean it is when you don't have all the extra stuff staring at you. So I like that. Okay. there. Wait, and one more. Great. Okay, so the client is finished signing. Okay, and your client is always going to be offered an opportunity to join DotLoop, which they do not have to do. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and see. As you can see, you can only be in one tab with DotLoop. Okay, so once I went to be my client, now I'm signed in as John. So I need to sign out and sign back in. Okay. So now I want to go to my agent profile. Okay, and I'm going to open up. Great. So now what we have here is you can see that he's signed all of them. So now you need to sign where you want to sign, okay? And it's not gonna prompt you the same way that it prompted him. I think it assumes sometimes that the agents are going to sign right there while they're creating it, but I prefer to sign after everybody client-wise has signed. I think that it's good that you make sure that the clients are happy before you're signing anything. So okay, there's nothing for us to sign as agents on the agency paperwork. So wire fraud warning, and then the inspection disclaimer. And so there we go. So we're done. So now let's save these. We don't need to share them. We just need to save them. So now the documents are saved. Okay. No. Okay. So now what has to happen is, this is where it's unusual. The thing about DotLoop is that there's no ability to put an order for the signatures. So in DocuSign, you're able to order it client, you, broker. Unfortunately, DotLoop doesn't do that. I don't know why, but we do not have that ability in DotLoop. But all you have to do, now that you and your client have completed any signatures needed, click on all your documents again, okay, because you know that the broker wants to see all of them, not just the one that he's signing. Okay, so click on all the documents, go up to the top right under your initials, okay, and you submit for review. Okay, it really wants a street address, and there isn't one. So I do need to work on that. I don't know what to do about that, but I want you to see what it looks like. So I'm doing this. Do not do this. Don't add. Okay. Notice that when you submit for review, it is literally sending it to the broker for signature. So I'm just letting him know because Joe is going to see this. Not worried about it. Okay. So there you go. The folder has been submitted for review. So as you can see, ready for signature. It's been submitted. Once he sees it and signs it, you will see complete. Approved is what it will say, actually. It will be approved. So that is how you submit a document in a template for your first loop, okay? And I will do another video continuing this where we add a document to the loop and then get a contract submitted. I will also discuss listing documents. Terrific.